Well, oh well. See who showed up here. Find myself here again. Have no inspiration whatsoever to talk about anything. Make these show titles and I'm like, I was ready to talk about those kind of ideas then, and it just escapes me. It has something to do with Mercury retrograde, I'm sure. A lot of people give credence to the power of the sun, or maybe the power of the moon, but then they forget there's all of these other bodies of energy in the sky. So I do wonder how much Mercury retrograde plays a part in most people's lives. So maybe if I'm going to turn this into any kind of talk that I'm kind of even slightly motivated to talk about, is the lack of motivation. I don't have that energy to talk about anything. It's like these subjects come up and I'm like, it's not even really interested in talking about that. But Mercury retrograde could that be the reason why? And does it affect people that are, say, Mercurian to begin with, as Geminis are controlled by or ruled by Mercury? And this whole, since Mercury retrograde started, since that moon, just ambivalent to the topics. I'm just, and the topic that I had in as the title of this video, Stephen Hawkings and drug culture, and who was it? Ram Dass. Maybe I'll just dip into what I wanted to say on that, but I don't know where to go with that. Like earlier, like I got my brain I got the little gerbil running around, but right now I'm just like, So the little bit about the Stephen Hawkings, I'll just dip into it, I guess, is I see Ram Dass being the same exact character for the quasi-spiritual movement, because the dude is literally in a wheelchair. He looks like he's on drugs all the time. And I was going to weave this scientific kind of weird thing in here, which is you have a Stephen Hawkings, which, if anybody wasn't familiar, he's almost certainly an actor. The dude you don't live for 40 years with Lou Gehrig's disease. It doesn't happen. He's certainly an actor, and someone's playing a part for him, if he is even, like, he might be toe up like that, but I don't think so. So he's this enigma for the scientific dogma, the scientism cult and the dogma, and he's used as like he's that. Look at there's the guy. He's broken. His body's broken, but he can think. He's a smart guy. He's Stephen Hawking. He's so smart. Most people live for 4 years with Lou Gehrig's disease. This dude's gonna live for 60. But yet, even if he is really that dude, and he really has Lou Gehrig's, he's in the drug culture. He's just takes prescription drugs every single day of his life. And you got somebody like Ram Dass that I'm looking at, and to me he looks like he's high on something every single picture I see of him in his later in life. Like he's like out of his mind. Not like he found the way to nirvana or the way to samadhi or the way to, as his books have plainly spoken of how, spiritual he is. But I see in him like, that dude is like, he's taking drugs for real. And if he's not, then I need to know what he's doing. But he's so at the end of, like, he's so wrapped up into this. It always gets into the people who are looking to say, that's the guy that knows something. There's the Stephen Hawking, smart guy. He figured out, I don't know what the fuck he figured out. Because as far as I'm concerned, not a damn thing. Because if he was so smart, he'd have figured out how to get out of the wheelchair. He would have figured out how not to be so broken. And that goes further into this concept of Ram Dass. Like, how is a spiritual leader sitting there in a wheelchair? How didn't he figure out, because spirituality is mental and physical, how didn't he figure out how to fix his body? How could he allow that to decay him to the point where he is a pathetic, sad sack of crap? That's what he's the form. He's got a big smile on his face. Maybe is that what we're all aiming for? Is that our, I don't know, but it does seem to be playing a part or a role, considering there's a movie coming out very soon about Ram Dass. So I just, it's this connection between those two things, as like they're both part of the drug culture, whether you accept it or not. And then you have all sorts of different kinds of drug culture. The entire world is a drug culture. Let's be very clear and plain and obvious about this. If your drug of choice is cigarettes, you're not just taking in a plant substance, you're taking in a bunch of drugs. And when I say drugs, I specifically mean chemicals, like real deal, made in a laboratory, designed to have some sort of effect. Not like plant substances which are nutrition and allow for certain experiences to occur. That everybody out here in the world, they're drinking their coffee bean. Where'd they get their coffee bean? What's been sprayed on that? So you find all of these people that are, 95% of people are part of a drug culture. Now, some of them are part of the psychedelic culture, maybe just smoking weed, but then you have to ask them, where are you getting your weed these days? You find somebody, you know, that tries to make a divide in the kinds of things that are and are not drugs in this culture, and we find that there's such a look at a television. You can look at a television and look at the patent and realize that it is a drug. The whole notion and the idea and effect of what a TV does is a drug. So we find who isn't part of this giant drug culture, and that was just kind of an over glossing to the conversation, and then specifically looking at these icons that we have. Yeah, Stephen Pete's, Kratom. I'm not at the moment, but and that's not a. But see, that to me, that's not a drug. There's a specific difference between what you find as a plant and what is a drug forces itself upon you. Where a plant, it offers nutritional responses where it will allow for experience. It will allow for transmutation. It doesn't force it. Where drugs do that. They say you will take this drug and this is what will happen. And this is why you can die on drugs. This is why you can die from overdosing on salt, because it shouldn't be eaten. It's a poison, just like any other drug you get from. But that's second. That's really third, fourth down the line of even what I want to get into, is just more of finding these icons and these people that are living tokens for people that go, oh, there's the answer. Listen to everything he says must be, and we find that it just doesn't happen to be true. And I had a lot more to say on that, but I again, the way that I've always done these talks, it's so momentary in my mind that I talk about it as soon as it comes up, and if I can't get on and do it, then it's not going to happen. And so that's why I was kind of going a different direction here with what to talk about. And seems to be Mercury retrograde, what does that have to do with people's aspects of personality? Because all of these things, if I wrap this up into, if I condense this, the adjustment to personality, is it the plant? Is it the system of lights out there? You would call it the stars or the moving bodies of light, or you'd call it the sun, or you'd call it the moon. You call all these different things out there, and they obviously certainly have effects on the human body. And then we say, well, what else things that we're consuming, whether it's via the TV or plant life. So all of these things, most people just go, no, that's the only thing. That they don't accept that food creates their mood, but they accept that the doctor will give them a pill that will fix their problem. But they accept that the sun will grow a tree, but they won't accept the sun as the sun is giving me energy. They'll accept that they can eat the fruit, but they won't eat it. They have to find a way to make things more difficult. But where are these energies coming from? It seems like they come from the sun and the star systems. And so it's very curious as to what the kind of, as I always talk about ingestion, the kind of things people ingest, and some things you're going to ingest. Walking through your neighborhood, you're going to breathe and ingest something. You're going to ingest something by looking at it. You're going to ingest these certain sounds and sights. And I just wonder where people draw the line to what they think they're ingesting. Like, most people won't accept that they're ingesting the TV they're looking at. They won't accept that the music they're listening to is affecting them. They won't accept, the only thing they really feel like is affecting them in any way is a little white pill, either from a preacher, or which is the one part of the cult, or the doctor, which is the other half of the cult, the black and white magicians. Basically, both give you white pills. One's the big wafer and one's the little one, and they expect both of those things to do something. but nothing else. This whole wild world of nature, it's everything. All of these plant substances that we could just eat, all of this light that just comes into us and gives us nutrition. People don't accept that. And they certainly don't accept that language and sounds and visuals will, you know, the things you're looking at, how it might affect your day. So I'm going to go back and see what y'all had to say. So hello, everyone. I got to your beginning, Electric Towel. Yeah, to a degree, you could say that. I don't know if I went that far with it, but there is... Yeah, you seen what time the earlier show was at too, huh? I try to leave my mathematical mind in recess, and I let my constructive mind just happen to choose from the blocks that are in the left brain. They're like, oh, let me grab this thing over here. That they're not even looking at that. We can use that number. Oh, Steve P, your life path is number 9. That's interesting. Yeah. 29 is your casino number 2. That's crazy. Yeah, hey, Steve P. Muscles contracting a different part of your body during a fast. I mean, think about just how a river would dam up, or different parts of, if you have clogs or things, to pressurize or depressurize the system. So that would just give you a little bit of a inkling. If it's, you know, tensing up, then do some manual massage, you know. Or you can get one of those electrical machines too. Those are fun, and those will pulse your muscles for you to like get things moving. Those are really helpful, but you know, I never really pointed those. I got one at the house. I don't really point it out to people because I think it's kind of superfluous unless you're pretty deep into a fast, or you're doing some really high intensity muscle building. But yeah, just a little light massage on those spots will help. Yeah, and and I'll agree with Electric Towel. The deficiency of magnesium, which is magnetism. So if you have a contraction versus, so this is what they do. They contract and express themselves. One is magnet and one is electric. So you've got your two systems, which are magnesium. It's the nighttime system, which is the magnesium and the potassium. I've talked about this a few times, and the coding for it, so you can remember it, is Mg for magnesium and K for potassium, which spells magic. Those are the nighttime elements. I forget the woman's name and the work, but I've expressed it in some other videos, and if anybody's really interested, I'll try to find it. I think it was Barbara Wren, W-R-E-N, there you go. It's called the cellular, I want to say cellular nutrition, but I don't think that's right. And so then you have two daytime elements being the standard sodium and calcium. And basically inside of your cell, and with the fluid outside of the cell, they exchange spots. But if you don't have enough pressure outside of the cell by having enough magnesium or potassium outside of the cellular matrix, it won't exchange. And so that could probably be a reason you're compressing your muscles. And so the goal of the fast is to clean all of that junk out of it so you can start from scratch and that's how does your body work without all of the additional salts that are actually stuck in your system. And usually the removal comes from the pulsing back and forth of the muscle. And even furthermore, the atom or the blood cell, just the pulsing back and forth to remove whatever's in the cellular system. Yeah, Electric Towel, the foot baths are awesome. You know, I think a lot to do with these foot baths are more of the electrical charge than any of the sodium or magnesium or anything that's going on the feet. I think it's more of the electrical charge that it's causing to the system. If you put a rod that's electricity into salt water, that's gonna, you know, the salt water is gonna really help with the electrical charge that's going on. So I think it's really freeing up ions in the body, rather than the general idea of what's happening. Are we soaking in these elements? Are we soaking in these elements? Because they have no way of measuring it. They don't really know, because, you know, they'll take a blood sample before and after and say, well, it's kind of similar, but maybe down here, you know, they know that different parts of the body, depending on the temperature of the water, et cetera, will change where the compounds will be in the body. So it's really hard to test. How is the person actually sucking in through going in say salt water? To go to the beach, you jump in the salt water, what's happening? Is your body absorbing those minerals? I say no. From all of the research I've done, I think what's happening is you're getting the charge from the salt water. You being electrode yourself, jumping into a salt bath with the light now from the sun on you, boom, you're getting charged up. That's what's happening. It has nothing to do with the exchange of elements inside the body or outside of the body through your suit. So I don't think that happens. I've done a lot of research on that, and it hasn't been a lot. You know, it's basically a bunch of just, we don't know because we can't test for it. Yeah, Steve P. I just did, as I'm scrolling through here, I'm a little way back. Each day is basically a year backwards. That would be about how it should line up. But again, that's all dependent on how much garbage is in your life, spiritually, emotionally, mentally, and obviously more so the physical. How much food did you stick in your body to hold on to memory? But usually it's a day per year. And if you're really keen about it, you could really, if you could in your mind go, oh yeah, 8 years ago, or 8 years and 6 months ago, I was dating so-and-so, and I just had this emotion that was basically 8 days and a half into a fast, and going, oh, there's that emotion. I don't know what it was tied to, but you could figure it out. Well, thank you, Unstance. You're looking quite dapper yourself, as usual, as per every single time I see you. What's up, Daniel Benson? Oh, Al Chem. Man, what a blessing for everything that you've extended to me. Man, it's magical. Thank you. It's been delightful. I meant to hit you back on the just on a chitty chat, but I figured I'd see you on here and just let you know thank you. It's been magical. It's my favorite. It's been doing wonders. What's up, Eilear? Yeah, Preston Boyd. His book. I mean, I you know, don't take anything I say out of context. I think everybody understands how I talk. Ram Dass is awesome stuff. All of his books are great. Baba Ram Dass. But you know, just let's not put these people in these places of look at this is the that's the brand. You know, they become brand identified icons for things. What up, Nathan Weller? What's up, Zach Chrono and Damien? What's going on? Steve P, that's awesome, man. And I will, Steve, I'll get to you. I seen you hit me on the email, but I'm not great with the email, man, because I ain't got a keyboard. So I'm working with the phone and a small little Android, and so I'd rather just talk live. So I'll try to hit you. I'll hit you with a short response via the via where you got at me. And I have a lot of people get at me, man. So I don't know if you got at me in Instagram, or did you send me an email, or both? Because a few other people got at me too. So just hit me again on my email, and don't feel like you're being you know, just if I don't get back to you, that's why. I'd rather just do these live on the talk like this. It's just much easier, man. Much more is said in fewer words than writing. It just, and it, you know, you get the point across a lot better. Yeah, Unstance. You know, I have fun with the cloning thing. I can't really tell, but what are you going to do if it's already been done, right? Unless somebody's got a button they can push and shut them all off, right? Electric towel, yeah, I'm on board with the drugged actors. I'm saying like drugged, like he's got a disease and so he follows the protocol and prescription of the doctor is saying, well, this is what you need to take and here's your drugs and we'll keep you alive. But you know, the little bottom teeth jumping out there now, that's definitely, he's putting that piece in. I mean, he might be just a little, he might actually be diseased, like really, really, right? But on another note, I don't know, man. Never met the guy. But when you have that much airtime broadcast on TV, you just got to go, well, take the information for what it is, from whatever, you know, things that he said, I don't know. You can't even listen to him. See, that's the point. Is there's a computer, somebody actually typing in, and they go, oh, that's what his mind said, so we trust him. He's a smart guy. He said a black hole or something. He said something about outer space, and like, oh, really? Okay, cool. So yeah, that's the it's in the box. It's in the trustworthy box. And there's actually this dude sitting in a wheelchair ain't saying a damn word. Somebody else is typing it. Wonder who's typing his scripts. Yeah, Preston Boyd. Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, getting onto Ram Dass being an acid freak, and that was the time of the, you know, Leary and all of them, and how much good did it do? How much bad did it do? How much did it open up neurological pathways? How much did it release gating mechanisms? How much did it damage your brain? You know, hey, I don't think the brain really can be damaged. I think we all come into this life with brain damage, and we work through life with a bunch of neurological orders and disorders that we just try to go, well, how do we fix this one? Whose joke is it? Like Louis C.K. always talking about dropping his. He's like, that's just one more crazy thing, that one more a disorder that I just gave my child. Like, you know, just stupid little things that happens. Oh, there's that one's gonna set in there nicely. Fermented foods is magical for cleaning out the system before or after a fast, for sure, especially after a fast, because then anything that's really still stuck in your body, that's going to be the stuff that's more like pushed back into the system. So if you do like a fast for 7 or 8 days, all of a sudden you've gotten most of the garbage out that's like sitting on top. You can really get into using heavier acids, and not acid like that acid, but like acids and kimchi and sauerkraut and you know, as we've gotten into before, I'm not going to get into again, but there was an idea that I had dipped into about people coming up with this concept, and I think I will just touch on it again here a little bit, that they find that people that have cancer have acidic blood, and I'm saying there's a trick, and it's the opposite. It's that because people have cancer, they have acidic blood, because that's the blood and the body being smarter than you, trying to burn off and kill the cancer. But it's not catching up because we keep shoving garbage into our mouth. So the body becomes even more acidic to remove the poisons in the body. It's becoming acid. The pH is going to a place of acidity to burn cells off of the body. That's what happens. And then maybe, no. It's the acid that's causing the cancer. It's backwards. You have to flip it around. It's the acidic state of the body is not causing the cancer. The cancer, because of all of the garbage that's in the body, is causing the body to be acidic, because it's the body's solution. What happens when you get a flu? What happens? Your body heats up. Heating the body up is exactly akin to moving the pH. You want to burn something off. What do? You boil it. You put it in an acid bath. It's the same concept. But we continue to keep putting more garbage in the body, and they go, no, we need alkaline. We need to alkalize the body. You need to alkaline everything. Alkaline this, alkaline water. These people are not understanding what's going on, and it's going to make a lot of people a lot more sick. There are going to be some people that actually get healthier because they're being a fruitarian and doing a really good, they're getting into healthy foods, but then they're not seeing the repercussions of doing this high alkaline diet, because all they're doing is balancing out the chemistry. They're trying to balance out the chemistry of their blood when they have things in their body that need to be removed, that need high levels of acid. It's you know, I hope that makes a lot of sense, and I would like to make a whole show on that, because it's really something that people need to understand, that no one is saying. That it's so obvious. Yeah. Yeah, Kaylee, electric towel, Kali Phos, yeah, phosphorus. Plus vodka, there you go. Fuck yes. Yeah, right on. The Kali, what are you taking for Kali Phos? Is it the little milk pills? Have I heard of L-tyrosine? No, I haven't. Not Mr. Bizzles. What's going on? I mean, it sounds like something if you told me what it was in. I don't know though. Steve P, you're having Mangda green kratom, urine, lemon, hot distilled water, and honey. That sounds awesome, man. I'm having there is some in here. It's white. It's white kratom and a little bit of wine. What up, Cam? What up, Aldrin? Yeah, Reza, yeah, the more you loop, the quicker the turnaround, the turnabout into the spiral. It's a spiraling ritual. You know, and that's kind of where I started right around the full moon. And whenever I started doing a little looping, I just became more like empty-minded. You know, that to have no mind, that the only time that I would talk is if there was like, you know, momentary something and like, okay, here's something to talk about. And then if I didn't jump on that right away, it's kind of where I am now. It's just like empty-mindedness. The no mind. Asa Angel. Cool, that's awesome. It's a pleasure to see you. I'm glad you enjoy. Yeah, electric towel. I hear you about the standing waves. There's a couple of people that explain reality with standing waveforms, and how Dan Winter's work. He talks about standing waves and then the different types of wave that interjects to that. I'm not going to get into it here because I don't want to screw up any of his language. And if I don't watch him like once a month, I kind of forget some of his verbiage. Yeah, Steve P, there's always those things, man. I definitely, during my fast, have had some of those things, for sure. Sano Logos, what's going on? The Dr. Watson. That's very funny because there's a picture of Watson. Not Watson and Crick, but who did he do all the experiments with? Anyways, there's a picture of him. And without a beard, I look a lot like Watson. It's pretty interesting. I compared one of my pictures of me being younger with them, and I was like, it was really hard to tell the difference. If I showed somebody, I'd say, who do you think is me? They wouldn't be able to tell. Oh, Reza, I want to hear about that. That sounds awesome. Yeah, let me know about that. Sounds awesome, Reza. You said the Mistech and the charging bands. That sounds cool. What up, Dong Cheadle? We the people. Yeah, electric towel, that acid vodka. I think we were talking about this a couple shows ago too, that you can find vodka that is in the pH of alkaline. You can find alkaline vodka. So that there's another clue into a couple weird things. That once your body is healthy, and if you want to maintain that balance of a slightly alkalinic pH to have your battery of your body charged properly, maybe you would take vodka in the 8.2 realm rather than the standard dog shit vodka, which is probably like 6, maybe 5.5. And there's also, you're going to have all of the other elements in it that is why people get sick. They're actually backing up their system with all of the other, you know, without distilling it properly. Sonologos. I taste butter or butter or milk sometimes, especially if I've been eating a lot of butter in my diet. What up, Jake Dyer? Yeah, Reza, I don't know. I'm sure it comes from potatoes. I don't remember the brand specifically, but it's almost certainly a potato vodka. What causes a runny nose, Aldrin? I mean, whatever your body is expressing and pushing out is a good thing. It doesn't mean you're sick. It means you're getting healthy. It means there was something in your body. Like, if you, especially that, like, where is that coming from? It's coming from inside of your body. It's not something from outside of your body. So when you look at it that way, that any kind of, you know, it's always the Herxheimer effect. And I hate giving it a label or a name or whatever, but the idea that the healing crisis or the effect of getting things out of your body is literally like pushing out something that was backed up in the system. So runny nose, it could be, you could have, do you have vision problems? Do you have sinus problems? Do you have hearing problems? A lot of times you could clean up hearing issues with sinus issues, with blowing your nose. It's because it's all connected back there, you know? But why it would specifically happen? Yeah, and I mean, it could be coming out of your brain just as well. You could really be cleaning out the slop in your brain. Because I haven't got a camera and one up there, I don't know how it works. It could be. Like, it could be the idea that, you know, I always talk about having brain goop or glop or whatever you want to put a word there. But the fluid in your brain becomes thick and viscous. Kind of like snot. Who knows? It could be coming right out of your brain. Steve P. wearing gray clothes. That's interesting. Depending on the time of year, the kind of frequencies you want to more attract or radiate. It's always said, you know, if you're feeling blue, wear red, right? Eat red. Do the. I mean, sometimes the philosophy is go deeper into the color. If you're depressed, the best way to get through depression is to have a deep rest. Another way is to go out and, you know, fight through it. Like, they're both going to work, but depending on your general, if you're male or female, depending on when you were born, all of that, whether or not you want to go into whatever the color is. And so if we express the color as, say, blue being depression or red being anxiety, do you want to get out of the depressive blue state with going and doing something like running on a treadmill? That causes anxiousness, movement, and that balances out. And there's also going in the other direction, which I think is a healthier notion, which is, if you're blue, be blue. Just let it be blue, you know, because that way you experience it and then you understand depression, and it's easier to not to get out of it. Just as well as being anxious. You know, people are anxious. Should you just let's go type up a paper? I don't know. Let's go run around, maybe. I've not heard of the black goo, really. I mean, I've heard people speak of black goo a couple times, and in movies, and what's your boy's name? One of the flat earther dudes, one of the big flat earther guys. He did a whole thing on. He did a whole, I think, hour-and-a-half documentary on the black goo, but I don't really know much about it. Unstance. I've never done a video on natal charts or star signs. I've done a lot of videos on astrology, but I don't necessarily I don't dig that deep in like that. I don't read charts like that for people. It's just like legwork that's easy enough for anybody to do, you know. I mean, if I had to, like, oh, okay, let me look at it for you, let me figure out something you're not seeing here, yeah, I would do it, but I just don't. Yeah, Reza, it's interesting. I mean, we talk about the stars and things so often, and the moon and the night and the fixed representation of energies within those places. Whether you think the thing is spinning around on top of us like a, or we're spinning and the thing's all stationary. I mean, whatever. Those things definitely have some quality of energy to them, and I wonder, like, well, we don't see them in the day. So, I mean, that's the confusing part. Where do they go? Where are they? Is that more powerful? Because I get all charged up and powerful from the sun, but then at night there's a whole different. That seems to be the access point to dimensional shifting, right? It should be when you're dreaming. It should be when you're, you know, there's something different about the night and the day, obviously. Am I connecting right now? If I know where the star system is, but I can't see it because of the sun, can I still connect to it? Or would I need to make confirmation that, like, at night you can really dive into the star system? So I don't know about that. Yeah, is that Corona? Well, that's a you know, think about it this way. If you hold a coffee enema in, normally it takes the blood 15 minutes to cycle, but with the extra caffeine and everything that's going on, I don't remember exactly why, but it's something like every 3 minutes it cycles the blood. So the more that your blood gets cycled through you, you're doing more work. I mean, maybe you should be holding it longer. And the idea of maybe you just don't know. Maybe your muscles should be stronger. Maybe it's you know, it's a. Have you ever had to pee and then held it and then it went away because you didn't? Then you go, I didn't really have to pee. Where did it go? Well, because that's like, how do you think dogs, like, you leave your dog at home all day? How does it not have to pee? How does it not pee all over your house? Well, because it's cycling the urine inside of itself, because that's what your blood should be doing. And you should be having enough. So maybe you would try to hold it a little more, strengthen the muscle, pelvic floor muscle, strengthen all of that, and actually get it to cycle through your blood again. And do more work while it's in there, you know? Yeah, I hear you, Sono Logos. It's been cold here, so I've been inside. I mean, I had a little something to do with it, like less being outside because it was chilly, but What up, Zen Ra? Ah, okay. Yeah, I hear you. Matutinal and vespertine portals. I've never heard that, but I'm assuming that's the masculine and the feminine portals, day and night. Yeah, Reza, I hear you on that. That might be about right. I think you're pretty close. Yeah, I mean, I hate Steve P. Now, as far as those vitamins, if you know, I'll say right away, if you're not getting them from a plant, they're not doing anything. They're not doing any good. In fact, they're harming you. If they're coming in a little pill form and they're not bioavailable, if they're not living systems, then they're pointless, worthless, and in fact, in most regards, unhealthy and unsafe. So, yes, well, we can isolate and say these certain elements do this. There's, in a whole plant substance, there's 20,000 other micronutrients that are doing all sorts of work to make sure that that one substance is doing its job properly. And when you remove the carbon bond and put it into a little white pill, so just remember that it's not going to be doing anything. And so I'll do a little spin off here into superfoods. I'm going to do a whole bit on that just so I can title it that and people can dig into it that way. But all foods are superfoods. You know, you put a food, any food, next to with a seed. You put the seed in the ground, you can plant it and make food. You can't take a pill and do that. You can't take any ground up mineral and do that. You can't. So just the life force and what's occurring is not even close. It's not even, one is the dead world, one is the living world. Those are the two, those are the matrices. That's the two worlds. Those are the two that are overlaid. Sophia, she doesn't run on vegetation. She runs on, I would assume, so to some degree, some minerals and, you know, so like, what is she made of? The minerals, the dead things. She's not made of fruits and vegetables. She's not a living organism. So that's the two worlds. And so if we put in the things that a bot or an automatic system, what a computer, you wouldn't want to eat a computer. So I just use that in the same way, man. There's just make sure it's from a living system. Yeah, I don't know from the dropper, man. It just, again, just because it's in a form that is liquid doesn't make it bioavailable. And even if you look up the term bioavailable, it just means that my biology can accept it. So what I really mean is it a useful construct for the human body. You can put anything you want in the body and it'd be, you know, because there's so many terms for things, you don't know what anybody means anymore. So it's easiest to go, can I go get it from that plant? Eat the plant, eat the vegetable, eat the fruit. That's the easiest way to go about it, because it's living, it's got the electrical charge to it, and it's going to have the nutrition. You know that if it's in there, it's taken care of. Where if it's in a little dropper, I don't know, man. But you are right about like how it works, though. I mean, those two elements, how the D helps with the K2. I mean, but according to who? I mean, what scientists gave you that study, and what plants were they working with, and what elements were they working with? You know, all those studies, to me, I find myself less and less even using those as any form of conversational piece to explain something to someone, because they have no validity, because they're all made to sell one thing, whatever it is they're selling. So Zet Chrono, no, it is not necessarily to put salt in fermented foods. No, it helps to sterilize so you're not going to get any of the bad bacteria. So I think it's beneficial to use a little bit of salt. You don't need it, but you might spoil it. It might go bad. So there's that kind of factor, that the salt ends up keeping it from going bad. If you suck at cooking, I would add a little salt. If you're not, you know, do a ferment with and without. See what happens. See if you can find the right temperature in the right area. That's important. But again, this thing with the salt, man, we're all taking in salt. you know, if we're going out to eat, we're hanging out, we have a life, we're taking salt. It's not, while it's a poison and while it's part of our life to a degree, we just minimize it. Don't go crazy, like, I can't ever have salt again. Can't ever. Then we end up in this little box and we start mutating into these little, I can't do this, I can't do this, I can't have salt, I can't eat this, I can't do that. And it has to be more, we have to frame it in the other direction. So whenever we look at something as, you know, a lot of what I say is, hey, these things are the dilemma, don't do these. I hope people don't get caught up too much in the don't doing, and like, hey, there's all of these other things you can do. So I'm not saying don't find vitamins, I'm saying find the vitamins in plants. What up, Jordan Wieland? Jordan, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You're totally awesome. I'm so excited. Eldrin Castro, do the different body types require different diets? I refer to all my other videos on diet. No. That's just another... Remember, it all goes back to the atom, and how is the nutrition occurring? There is no eating. There's an exchange of electrical charge. This gets back to Hilton Hotima's work. That's very advanced. I wouldn't just tell somebody that is very big bone versus somebody who's very skinny to take the exact same diet, because to get to the same place, you know, it's always transitional periods for people going through different dietary systems, meaning a transition, finding new gods, deities, finding what's your new god, okay, to getting to the place of, oh, everything is, I'm the only thing, and I can work with the ether. I can work with the aether, excuse me, the ether. So yeah, the body types, it's kind of like, well, there's 3 different body types, but then there's also the body type of different races, species, different beings. So no, it really just comes down to whether someone feels fed. It's a big part of it too. Yeah, I mean the blood type and the diet type, again, these are I'll go a little farther, because go to my blood type videos. This is about transition to what is the blood supposed to be, what would the body look like. I mean, we're not changing bone structure anytime soon, but blood definitely can be altered. The antigens and the antibodies, why wouldn't you be able to change them? Most people maintain their same thing because they keep the same diet throughout their life. So why would a blood type ever change throughout the history of the world? Well, because some people had different things in their diet and their deity, therefore causing their blood to change, passing it to the next generation, exchanging it with the woman, etc., now the child. How does it ever develop and change? Obviously, environmental and dietary changes the blood type. So if you can change it that way, you can change it that way. Yeah, Reza, there you go. Reddit, what is not a bubble? I can't be sure. It seems like everything that we experience is the bubble, right? And then what isn't our capacity to create, I guess. Outside of that, like everything else, is we're just creating it. Create fiat currency. That's okay. That's capitalism. That's a, you know. We've seen through the history books how all of the things that we thought, these empires that we thought would stand, those were bubbles in and of themselves. So these are just the next bubble that's holding on to what seems to be fiat currency. A digital currency is no different. It's just, okay, this happens to be the thing. What's the true value of anything? There is no true value to anything. The true value to somebody that is in a warm climate might be an air conditioner, and somebody that's in the cold climate, it's a fireplace. So there is no real value to anything. It's always determined locally. But as far as maintaining value and worth and having a way to spend something to get real estate, I don't know how real it is, or to get a piece of property, or to buy land. I don't know, because even that, like, land gets exchanged all the time. Territories change, land names change. Steve P, all money is is there any that isn't? RH positive is monkey blood. I don't know. The RH, that's what they say, and it seems like when that started to crop up into our DNA or our blood typing. Now, was it always there but they just never tested for it? How would anyone know? Or did it get introduced around the time, instead of saying they were testing on monkeys, they were testing monkeys on us? I mean, I'm getting into even deeper stuff, going to intervention theory, Lloyd Pye, and the ideas of the monkey, and how we look in comparison to them, where their hair grows, where ours grows. We get facial hair, they don't. We get hair on our chest, they don't get hair on their chest, they get in our back. They eat vegetables, but we somehow eat meat. It doesn't make any sense that we're weaker. We're weaker in every way. We're more violent. We create weapons of terror and destruction. Seems like we're, and we're physically weaker. And so it's like these kind of weird things of, no, they're completely structurally different. So if maybe, going back far enough, there was some sort of hybridization between that, but just I think it's more or less the injection of the monkey's blood into our system, possibly by literally injecting it or by eating. Most of these antigens and antibodies are in representation to blood types of other animals that we've eaten. So if you think of just like becoming carnivorous and meat eaters, it was always where you looked at these blood types, it was where they were on the map. And so there'd be more blood types in certain areas. Well, then what is it controlled by? It's controlled by the dietary habits and the environment, meaning the angle of the sun, the stars, the type of people that are living there, not even the language they spoke, but these things are all like secondary characteristics that are helping build bodies and blood types. But the primary thing is the thing you're throwing into your mouth that ends up getting into your blood. And then if you eat animal, you're getting their blood in you. So you have chicken blood in you, you have pig blood in you, you have cow blood. It gets into your system. And so until you actually go through really fast in water, to purify your water and your rivers, and having no blood in your river, I would like to do a reading for you very soon from a book on breatharianism that talks about and it's something I've talked about before, should our blood be red? Or should it be golden like our piss? Or should it be clear? This iron-rich shit is not... Iron Man ain't true. Go look at my work after I Am Tron, the digital electric shaman. That one and the 4 after that. There's some really deep stuff. And the 2 before that, I talk about blood. So if you want to get deeper into what I was just talking about there's a good 5 hours of me going on about blood and the different kinds of... and the other one is I think it's called golden blood. Look into that, and they'll get deeper into where our antigens, antibodies are coming from, and what it should look like. And there is one blood type. It's called Rh null. That if you don't know about, it's called the golden blood. You should look into that. And if you don't want to do too much research, you can. I made a half-hour video on it. So what else, y'all? Steve P, you said your ADHD fucked off during the fast. Yeah, it does help, and it balances out all the hormones, regulates the sugar levels. It resets so many things in the system. It's not just cleansing; it's also resetting of many different
esoteric goods.
Many different chemicals that are being released start to find their balance. You know. What's up, Rastafu? Well, thank you, sir. Thought I changed it up a little bit. So yeah, let you all know, I got a little bit of juice left on the phone. Let's see where we're at here, like an hour in. Organic raw consciousness. Keep it organic and raw. And non-GMO. Well, Zet Chrono, I will send some your way in the the magical realms. You ask for that, and I can just blast them off to you. Tall chicks to Zet Chrono. They're gonna be super tall too. They're gonna be freakishly tall. They're gonna be like basketball player tall. Oh, did you look up Aether, A-E-T-H-E-R, and did you look up ether, like ether, the stuff that is like it's a drug. It's not the same thing. Well, it might be the same thing. I mean, shit. Oxygen is pretty much a drug we're hallucinating on all day. So check it out, y'all. It's kind of chilly. I'm gonna go run inside for a little bit and warm myself up, and get on my hoodie. And I'll come back out here in a little bit and do a little round two. Hopefully I'll be able to find some inspiration in a book or something. An electric towel. Yes, I think so. Yeah, I think it's self-referential. Like the system, if it's holographic and morphogenetic, and like within the smallest is the largest, within the largest is the smallest. To a degree, I think, yeah. And the idea that a couple people have put forth about computers being run on water. If you can keep compressing memory, where does it go? It just gets smaller. But we can't conceive of the smallest thing because it's impossible to conceive of the smallest thing. Can't conceive of the largest thing either. So in that, who knows? Assume within this, I could just take this little thing right here, and there it is. There's the universe, in the palm of your hand, huh? What up, Jessica? I haven't seen you in a bit. So yeah, electric towel. I do think that the system of the body, considering it, I've talked about it before, that you store up memory charges in the body in fat cells and cancer cells. So you're basically storing up, you're using up your RAM on things that don't need to be used anymore. And so those kind of are like blocks in, if you were a computer system, and it just using that mind frame that your body is actually the smaller version of the what's gonna, you know, the smaller version of the computer that now is in your pocket that used to take up a giant building that just keeps getting compressed, and all of a sudden our phones can do more than NASA could when they went to the moon. So yeah, what's to say we're not already the AI? Yeah, exactly. There, I just seen there. You said it. Electric towel, water computers. Jordan, I have heard of Yoni eggs. I'm sorry, I haven't used any though. I don't have the proper equipment to use them. Electric towel. What moon? We're all the immortal AI. Yeah, Reza, the first one I did was in very cold weather. It's hard to do it in the cold because you're asking your body for extra work. But if you can accomplish it, you know, as they say, you put a little more work in. The cold, I did it in Baltimore in January, so it was really cold. So yeah, let me get back to me telling you all that I'm gonna go inside for a little bit because I'm a little chilly right now. I'm gonna warm myself up, and I will come back and see you guys in maybe like an hour. Does that sound good, everyone? Would you all like that? I feel like I'm talking to my puppy. Would you like that? So yeah, I'll see you all soon. And hey, did everybody here let me know over here? Did you all know ahead of time that I was doing this show? Like, when did you get the notification? Because these last two shows, the first time I tried to use a new option on this phone, which was to have a scheduled live event. I never could do that before because I'm using an Android, and I guess it just didn't on iPhones it worked, but not on the Android. So Christine, you didn't. Okay. So Reza, you got one. Christine, you did not. I don't know, man. Okay, but okay, Zet, you knew that I was doing this prior to me posting it. Said like live in whatever, live in like 10 minutes or live at 4 o'clock or whatever. Because it's the first time I've set it up that way. I just didn't know if it was working.
Well, that was fun. Yeah. Now I hope we can make it.
Well, you know, I'm making an effort. I'm making a concerted effort over here to get you all notifications when I'm going to be doing this. I noticed the earlier show that I was going to do, some people got a notification apparently, but yeah, okay, Steve P, okay. This hat? What you talking about? This ain't a goofy hat, Cam. This hat is super fresh. What you talking about? Okay, well, Jessica, you get the ESP. I sent it first run ESP out to you. Thank you, Sono Logos. You know what's up. Super fresh, super fly. All right, I'm gonna come see you guys in a little bit.